welcome to Bear Fitness. I'm your host, Laura Williamson, personal trainer, Pilates instructor, and health coach extraordinaire. Today's topic is working out one-on-one. So what does that mean to you? Basically today what we are gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how to work out on your own. But before you work out with me and before you do anything here with me today, please make sure you have permission from your doctor if you need it to do anything outside of your usual movement or activities. Okay, so all that being said, let's have a little fun today and let's teach you some stuff. Now, the first thing we're gonna do is discuss proper form on traditional exercises. So we're not gonna get fancy and sexy today. We're just gonna keep it simple so you know what you're doing. And the second thing is you should think about how long does a workout take? How long, or basically how much time do you have to dedicate to a workout? I'm gonna help you with that. And the last thing is keep it simple. You don't need to do fancy, you don't need to do sexy for effectiveness. Basic things, basic form, and I'm gonna show you how to do that here, today, right now. So the first thing is we wanna think about what are some of the traditional exercises. What do you think about? We think about squats. What else do we think about? We think about bicep curls. What else do we think about? We think about chest presses. I'm gonna help you with all of that today. So basically, let's start with that. Let's start with squatting. Now, the proper form in squatting, I mean, you know how to squat, right? You sit down all the time, you sit in a chair, and dare I say, you sit in the bathroom. So you probably have perfected that squat and you didn't even know that you were doing it. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna show you basically what form you're supposed to have when you are squatting so that you protect your knee and you protect your back, and more importantly, you're effective and you are efficient. So let's start from the beginning and let's move through. And then when all is said and done, I'm gonna have a workout for you. I'm gonna put all those things together and you should think about putting those things together also, all right? So again, let's start with a squat. The first thing you need to know about a squat though is what is the proper form? Well, let me show you. I'm gonna come down on my knee here and I'm gonna come all the way here. Now the first thing I want you to think about is the knee. Where's your knee when you're squatting? Where are your knees when you're squatting? You wanna think about a 90-degree angle and you wanna keep your knee behind the second or third toe, all right? You don't wanna jut forward because see, that's an extreme angle for us. It's not a bad thing, again, as long as you're behind the second or third toe, but basically you just don't wanna cause any stress or strain to the joint, all right? So when you do that, think about this. You want a chair, start with a chair or no chair, whatever is easier for you. I'm gonna turn sideways, and from here, you're gonna sit down and stand up. Easy, right? Sit down and stand up. But now here's another thing I need you to think about, you should consider. What can happen sometimes is when you're sitting down, you might round the back, and this is bad. Because when is this important? This is important, as I mentioned to you, doing basic things like going to the bathroom and just sitting in a chair. But the other time this is important is when you're picking things up off of the floor. Are you one of these people? This is bad. This is strain on the back. So the next thing you want to do, you should squat down and you stand up. All right? Now, another thing to think about is babies. Babies have a perfect squat. Fantastic. Have you ever seen an infant get on the floor and they sit down and they sit all the way down and they get to the floor? It's beautiful if you really think about it, all right? Obviously, we're not gonna go that low. I'm not teaching you how to do that, but just keep in mind that the problems that come later on in life, little babies don't have that and they have perfect form. So keep that in mind next time you see a toddler on the floor reaching for something. Now, some other things I want you to think about when you're doing your squats. You want to think about what can you do to challenge yourself. If you're new to working out, take it easy. Don't get ambitious. Just do what you can do. And start with just movement. Make sure you got the form, sit down and stand up. You see how I sit down here? The other thing is when I stand, most people would just stand up, but believe it or not, my squat isn't finished because my hips aren't straightened. I'll show it again. Sit down, stand up, and then I lengthen my hips at the same time. So what you don't want to do is don't keep your bottom up. You don't even realize it half the time. You want to get as tall as possible because now look, you're getting a hip stretch in the front. I'm going to do it for you one more time. Feet are hip width apart. Get your stance together. Sit down and stand up nice and tall. All right? That's gonna feel good. And I don't even have any weight yet. Get that first. Then challenge yourself. How do you challenge yourself? Increase the weight. Maybe pick up a dumbbell. I have a couple here. Try it again. Sit down, stand up. Or better yet, move faster. Right? We can add in a little time. So maybe do it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever feels good, and then keep it moving. That's how you challenge yourself when you're doing your squat. And again, this is basic. You can always do a squat, all right? The other thing is, now you can get all fancy with it if you want. If you want to, you can even go single leg. So all you do, pick one foot up off the floor, and you sit down, and you stand up. So we can go 2 feet, we can go 1, and we can split it. We can go sideways and we can go backwards, right? You have 2 legs. So move around, see what you can do. But to begin, before you get fancy with it, get the form first. I'll give it to you one more time before we move to the next exercise. So here you go. Hands in front, sit down, pretend like there's a chair behind you, and come right back up again. Lengthen the hips, all right? Now, another thing you can think about, let me see. You can add dumbbells, you can add barbells, a stability ball. Stability ball is awesome if your knees trouble you. That actually lightens the load. I'm trying to think, you can do it on a cable cross machine. There are so many ways. You can do it on a bench, you can do it on a chair. I mean, I keep talking, I know I sound like Dr. Seuss, but these are the things that you can do to challenge yourself to make your squat more interesting. But that is a traditional exercise. You sit down, you stand up. You do it all the time, all day long. You just don't even realize you're squatting half the time, all right? So that is your squat. Now, the next thing I'm thinking are bicep curls. Why don't we try biceps? Everybody knows what a bicep curl is, right? You bend, you straighten, you bend, you straighten, you pick your drink up, you bring it to your mouth. You eat your meal, you pick your fork up, you bring it to your mouth. Bicep curls. Do them all the time. That's basic and that is functional. All right, so now how do we do that? What's proper form on a bicep curl? Well, let me show you. I'm gonna actually get a weight, so bear with me. Now, here we go. We have a dumbbell in hand, all right? Not too heavy, not too light. So start with something that you are comfortable with weight-wise. Okay, let's just start there. Now, basically what we're going to do, I'm gonna use this hand. All right, this is my stronger side, so I'm choosing to use this side. Now, I'm gonna go traditional with you. I'm gonna curl to my shoulder. I wanna keep my elbow by my side. So if you see this, I'm gonna turn sideways here, right? And then I'm gonna bring the arm down. So I'm gonna curl up, and then I'm gonna bring the arm down. You see that? Wait, here we go. Come to the shoulder, or thereabout, and then bring the arm down, all right? Press on the end, give yourself a little squeeze on the end of the muscle and bring the arm down, okay? Try it again. Take your time, don't rush, and bring the arm down. So let's talk about what's important about a bicep curl. I'm gonna put this down, let's chat, shall we? All right, now when you're doing a bicep curl, basically what you wanna think about is contracting, all right? You wanna feel this here. And you don't want to swing the arm, because what tends to happen a lot of the time is people will swing from the shoulder to bring the weight up because maybe the weight's too heavy or they're just not sure what the form is. So all that being said, again, try to keep the elbow by your side and just bring the hand toward your shoulder and curl, squeeze, and then bring the arm back down with control, okay? Squeeze and bring the arm back down with control. There are many ways you can do a bicep curl, and let me show you. Now, with the dumbbell, this is the way we want to handle this. Now, I showed you how to do a traditional way, which was front and down, okay? Front and down. But now look, you can start to change it around. I can go sideways. This is a hammer curl. And this is the palm by the side of my leg. It's like I'm carrying a handbag. Does this look familiar? Carry your handbag, you put it on your shoulder and you keep going? You do bicep curls all the time, all right? So now from here, you curl up, rotate, and bring the arm down. But look, I'm still not moving that shoulder. Keep it still and bring it down. All right, so that's a twist and curl. So what do we have now? We have 3. We have forward, down, hammer curl, up, down. Now we have a rotation, curl, and down. And the list goes on and on and on, but that's how you want to do a traditional bicep curl. Just curl and bring it, keep it here, or just up and down, all right? Now, if you notice, I'm only using one arm, so there are different ways, again, to do a curl. With that being said, you can go one arm. I can go, wait, hold on, here we go. 2 arms, see that? And look at my stance. Did you notice I changed my stance when I started to pick up 2 versus 1? That is always important. I have to reiterate or remind, balance is key when you're doing your exercises. Make sure your base is stable. You don't want to be all over the place moving weight around because A, it'll throw you off, B, there's a potential that you could hurt yourself, and C, it's more efficient movement-wise. We want to keep it that way. All right, so as you do that, I'm going to keep the 2, and again, I'm going to demonstrate, just going to move my hair out the way. All right, now so from here, now I'm going to alternate. So we could do 2 arms, right? We were doing 1 arm when we started, right? We got our 2 here, and look, I rotate. So mix it up, and if you notice, I'm using a pretty conservative weight. I'm not getting, wild and crazy with it. I'm just keeping it simple. Keeping it simple goes a long way. Start easy, find your level, and then increase your load weight as you go. Now, as we do this, here are some things to consider to challenge yourself once you get the form down. What do we want to think about? We want to think about increasing the weight. So that was 7.5 there. So maybe you go to 10 and see how that feels. When you're building anyway, or when you're doing weightlifting, we only increase in small increments anyway. We don't do high weights right away. We try to figure out where we live, what weight is appropriate for us, and then we increase slowly over time, a little bit at a time, just to give ourselves time to adapt to what it is that we're doing. So you can do it that way, or keep the same weight. Maybe I stick with the 7.5, and maybe again, I add a clock and I go faster and do it with time. Or maybe I just I increase the reps. Increase your reps doing your bicep curls. So maybe instead of doing 10, do 12, do 15, and do it that way. So there are just so many different ways that you can challenge yourself when you're doing a bicep curl. So it's your goal is to figure out what works for you, what's fun, what's interesting. And let's say you've been doing the same thing all along. This is the way that you change it. That's with all the exercises that you do, all right? And then what type of equipment do you use? Well, I have dumbbells here. You can use pulleys in the gym. You can use barbells, right? The long bar, you can do that way. You can use body bars. That's another long bar. These are all things that you can do at home. And dare I say, there once was a time where you could actually see me using grocery bags doing bicep curls. All right, that exists. I have footage of that. Maybe one day I'll show you that. But at any rate, that's one way to change up your bicep curl, all right, and make it a little more challenging. Make it fun. That's really what it all comes down to, okay? Now, chest presses. Who hasn't heard of a chest press? Now for this one, I think I'm actually gonna get down on the floor for this one. So I'm gonna start here because I don't have some of the things I would traditionally use when I'm doing a chest press, all right? But I got a couple of weights. I'm gonna use those here, and then I'm gonna show you the proper way to do a chest press. Now, first thing, get your bench. You wanna be secure. I'm gonna get my weight, again, and I'm gonna get down on the floor. So here I go. I'm gonna come on down, put my weight down, and I'm gonna lie down. I know, it's not traditional to do it on the floor, but guess what? If that's all you have, you make do. Sometimes you gotta get creative when it comes to your workouts, especially if you're at home, even if you're in the gym. You know, there are many, many, many ways to change up a workout. Now, so from here, you will lie down. Now, what's the proper form on a chest press? If you notice as I'm lying on the floor, there's a little space underneath my back. That is my natural form. That's my back. I'm not gonna fight with that right now. And I'm gonna keep my knees bent because actually, I do want to protect my back as I am here. So now my weights are by my side. And the first thing you're gonna do is make sure that your feet are planted. Make sure this is tight. Your abs are actually engaged. And make sure everything is stable and solid. Then you're gonna pick up your weight. I'm only gonna pick up one dumbbell right now because I wanna show you the form. Now, if I go traditional, I'm gonna bring my elbow out over here and my palm is facing forward. And I'm gonna start at the top with my hand, all right? So we wanna start at the top, get here first. Now, if you want, I'm gonna start also with the other hand, because again, I'm gonna go traditional. And both hands are up and over and across the chest, all right? That's how you want it. So you want the hands up across the line of the chest. And let me go here. This is where you're going, all right? And that's where your line lives. You're gonna live up here, keep everything together. And now from here, I'm gonna bring my elbows down to the side, touch the floor, and come back and meet in the middle. Come down to the side, come up and meet in the middle. Okay, that's what you're doing, that's where you wanna go. Now, remember I always talk about variations and mixing it up a bit. Now, if you wanna mix it up, we can go one arm at a time, right? Alternating. You touch, come up, touch, come up, right? Or we can do one hand. I'm gonna put this weight down here, and then we down and we come back up, we're down, we come back up. Or, so now we're gonna mix it up just a bit. Now you notice I turn my hands in. I was palms out. Now I'm palms in and together. Now I'm gonna come out here. I'm gonna round my arms, bend my elbows a little bit out to the side and come through the center. All right, so now I'm meeting in the middle. All right, and that's it. So you have a couple of ways you can mix this up, and that is a traditional chest press, okay? Again, I know it's not traditional to be on the floor, but you work with what you have. Now, what are some things to consider? Well, you can do a chest press on the bench. You can do it using a barbell instead of dumbbells. You can actually use a cable cross machine, anything that has a pulley. So you do the fly, you open and you close, and then I almost forgot, you can also use a tube. I have a couple of tubes here, and actually I have a purple one, and you can also use one of these to do your chest press. All right, so get, again, creative with it, get fancy with it. Same rules here. You can add time, you can go faster, you can go slower, add a little more weight. That's gonna challenge you. Mix it up, but more importantly, get the form first. Make sure your form is strong. If you are doing a chest press and your arms are all over the place, guess what? Your weight might be too heavy. Your form's not solid. Get the form. Keep saying it. Get the form first, and then everything else will come together for you. All right, because you don't want to pick up any bad habits physically, because we got to think about injury in the future. Now, the next one we're going to talk about, I think, triceps. Let's talk about triceps. Let me start with this. No one likes lunch lady arms. Okay? Too many times and so many times people come to me and say, I don't want the wing, the flap, the excess that happens here. So when you wave hello or goodbye to someone, you have a little flag going there, or and this is, I'm not trying to talk badly about lunch ladies, I promise I'm not. But these are the things and the ways it's been described to me in the past. So I thought I would just throw that out there. So this is the way to counteract some of that, working on the triceps. So let me show you how to do that today, or how do you say Michelle Obama arms? This is gonna help. All right, now, here's the plan. This is what you wanna do with triceps. The first thing you wanna do, let's go overhead. and I'm gonna use one arm. I'm gonna stand up for this one, all right? Because this is a fun one too. There are many ways we can do triceps. Now the first one is here, all right? And all you have to do is bend and straighten, right? So I'm gonna start with this one. This is also known as a skull crusher, right? So you can do, actually let's do it this way. I'm gonna turn it around, bring my hands over my head, and then I'm gonna straighten and I will bend, all right? So that's one way. And basically the way that you wanna do that is you wanna keep your arms by your ears and straighten this right up. So I also understand that this is not the best angle to do this, all right? But this is just an idea. So let's get a little more traditional with it, and I'm gonna get back on the floor with it. Now, when you are on the floor, similar to doing your chest press, you can do 2 arms or 1 arm. All right, so now you will lie down and then grab your weight. Now find a comfortable weight, keep your knees bent. If all you have is a floor, that's what you work with. Arms will go straight up. Make sure you have a good grip. And now from here, keep your shoulders down, abs are engaged. Always, I'm all about engaging the abs. Tight seat, engage the abs, that's probably the Pilates in me. And from here, you're gonna bend your arms toward the floor. Try to get that 90-degree angle. So wait a minute, hold on. Let's make sure you got that. You see that? This is what we're going for, all right? Now, the arms can come down, or the hand can come down a little bit more, but from here, you wanna be about here, and then you wanna straighten that arm right up, okay? So you wanna bend, and then you're gonna straighten it. And again, this is the same rule applies. Do not move the shoulder. This is not the exercise. You see how I'm moving the shoulder? And quite frankly, it's a little painful if I'm being honest. So keep it here. And if you have to move from here, decrease the weight first. Make sure you have the form before you start moving it. If you need to, practice without the weight. Get the movement in your body first. You see that? And now, let's try the weight. Here we go. And this officially is your skull crusher. This is the one I started doing while I was standing up. All right, so we got 2 arms. I'm gonna put that down. Now we have 1 arm. Okay, and that's all you have to do. There, and bring that down. So there are many, many ways to do triceps and to hit them. But again, this is the easiest way, I think, traditional way on a bench that you can do your skull crushers. Once you do them, once you get it down, then you can get all fancy with it. So 2 arms, you go to 1 arm. Let's see, you can use a tube like the one behind me. You can use a pulley. You can use a barbell. I mean, you see, I keep talking, there's more. Keep going, keep going, keep going. But yes, this is how you do it, okay? Now, the next thing I think we're gonna do, let me think. Let's do the lats. All right, I know we say lats, but basically we wanna work on the sides of the back here, all right? So this is what we're going to hit. We wanna get right here. There's nothing like having a nice and strong back. We need a strong back. We like a strong back, but we need one. Let's be honest, all right? So let's put these guys away. Now, the first thing I'm gonna start with, how do you do lats at home without a machine? Well, you get equipment. You use a tube, or you use this band. Actually, I think I prefer the band. So let's start with this band. All right, so this is a band. You can get these anywhere. All these things that you see me with here, you can buy on Amazon, right? Get it all from Amazon, or whatever gym you're working out at. They should have a lot of this. This is all basic equipment. These are things that they should have, but even if they don't, it doesn't cost much to get it for yourself. And I think most of us at this point, I hate to say, have probably been to therapy at some point in our lives. And you might have a couple of these floating around the house, all right? I do. We'll get into that one later, but here we go. So now, if you're holding the band, So you just grab it, all right? See that? Just hold right on. And then wrap your hands around, okay? I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna grab it. It's right over my thumb. And then that way I can grab, like I'm gonna pull it apart. And then take my hands, wrap it around, turn it around, and grab again. Now I'm holding, all right? That's what I'm doing, see that? Now from here, I'm just gonna pull, it's a pull apart. I'm just gonna pull it apart, see that? And bring it forward. Oh, but wait, that's the wrong body part. That's actually, those are my rhomboids that I'm working, which is good too. That's good for posture, by the way. Pull your shoulders back and down. We'll come back to that one because that's important. But lats, arms go up, get nice and tall, and pull out to the side. And come right back up again. All right? Pull down and back up. Now hold on. You guys got to get a better view of this. You got to see what's actually working. So I'm wrapping this hand again. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to bring my arms up. And here we go. I'm going to pull out to the side and come back up again. All right? So pull and back up again. Okay? And back up again. All right? You know, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, okay? But I want to keep it simple so you can do this on your own. You can do this anywhere, home, in your gym, you know, whatever is easiest for you, because these things, they're helpful, all right? So here it is in the front. So I pulled out to the side, but now look at this. If I want to, I can even make a W. Does that look familiar? See, now it really looks like the lat exercise you're probably used to seeing, right? Sitting on the equipment, pulling down with the bar, making the W. There's your W. And you bring your hands a little closer together and make your W and go back out. Okay, make your W and go back up. Okay, so you have a choice. Pull apart or make a W. Pull it down and come back up. Out to the side, down, and right back up again. All right, now with regards to the lats, let's think about where can we do the lats. I just mentioned there's equipment that you can use. You can use the band, you can use the tube. Let me show you the tube. Let's get that going. All right, so here we are. Now from here, see it? Here, maybe you have one of these at home. I'm gonna make my W. Let's make the W. And back up. Last time, and back up. I think you get it, right? And obviously there's equipment. There are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can utilize this, but still, you wanna hit the sides of the back, and that's one of the ways that you can do it. All right? Now, oh, the fun part, the abs. Let's talk about abs. All right, now, let me start off with, I think I'm gonna start with crunches, but let me just throw this out there. Crunches are not good for everybody. Crunches are especially not good for people who have tight hips. One of the reasons being is they have tight hips, and actually doing the crunches sometimes just aren't good for a person who's tight in the hips. It actually doesn't help. It can exacerbate or make it worse in some ways. So just be mindful if you know that you have tight hips. There might have to be some modifications to the crunch or to your abdominal exercise so that you don't actually make things worse with your hips. But that might also mean that you might need to do some other things specifically for your hips. So just because you can't do a crunch or your abs that way does not mean that you can't hit your abs hard. But I think some of you know that, but maybe this will help give you information as to how to go about doing that. So let's give some things a try. Let's start with lying on the floor again. All right, so when we lie down on the floor, the first thing I want you to do is check yourself. All right, give yourself a little test. Take your hand and just slide it underneath your back. Can you get under there? Do you go under? And I apologize because I have a bit of a habit. I naturally engage anyway. It's just for me at this point. I've been doing it for a long time. But for most of you, if your hand actually just runs under your back, you want to be mindful of that. You want to find a way to engage. This will help you do it. So you want to tighten your seat. Imagine you have a $100 bill, all right? And you're going to hold it between your cheeks. I know it's graphic and might even be gross, but you understand me now. So hold a $100 bill between the butt cheeks and don't let it go. Keep it, all right? You hold it there. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your hand, run it underneath your back, and you're going to cut your fingers off. Now how do you do that? You press into the floor. You press into your fingers. So my glutes are tight. My abs are pressing down onto the floor on my fingers. Hold the position. Try to pull your hand out. Try to pull out. I can't pull my hand out right now. I'm working. My abs are working. And I am trying to pull, believe it or not. Okay? Now, if you are having a difficult time with this, I recommend this by itself can be an exercise. Practice this, work that. You know, see if you can hold yourself down. Work with that. If you need to bring the legs together, bring them together. Maybe put a towel between. And see if you can keep it all together and pull your hand out. Now, all that being said, try that first. Now, the next thing I'm gonna have you do, because that's gonna test your abdominal strength. That is the purpose of doing that. Just so you know, I'm just giving you some weird thing to do lying on the floor. No, this is a good indicator of how strong you are, you know, or how much you need to work on your abs. So you need to pull in, hold the position. Now, if you must do a crunch, if you're like, I can't live without my crunches, this is what I'll ask you to do. Let's just try to keep it small. Smaller is better. Lower the head. Lift and lower the head. Look, it's not a big move, but you see me shaking. I'm working for it because everything is tight. And bring it down. All right, up and bring it down. So for you people who don't have really tight hips or hip issues, you know, go for it. Give that a try. But look, as I come down, I'm still keeping that. Try not to let that go, because typically what happens when I go up and come down, this is what happens most of the time. People will arch in the spine and then round when they come up and then arch in the spine. You want to be strong in both directions, all right? And down. So you lift and you lower. Now, again, for those of you people who might be a little tight in the hips, let's try planks. Let's try to work that situation out. So this is what a plank is going to look like. Now, we go onto our knees and we go onto our elbows, all right? So the arms and hands come down. My knees are coming off the floor. This is a full plank. So I need to talk to you about this for a minute. I need to have this conversation. So there are so many times that I see people doing these planks and they're not necessarily the correct plank. The best way to do it, I would like to recommend to you, is try not to let your back, see how I'm lying here now and you can see I'm arching in my back, and then when I come out of it, I'm still holding that. That's a lot of strain on the back. That's not where you want to be, okay? You want to be here, okay? That's where your work is. That's where you want to be. Now, there's a strong possibility that this position is too advanced for you, so you change it. You bring your knees down, hands in front, cut your plank in half, start here, okay? It's not wrong, it's not easy, you know, I promise it's work. Perfect this one, you will be fire when you come here, I promise you, all right? Because this is what you want, and this is gonna open up a whole world for you. Now, again, if you're like, I definitely wanna do my plank, then you know what you do? You elevate your plank. You get a chair, you do it on a bed, you do it on a higher surface, and you can do your plank there with straight legs, okay? Because admittedly, being on the floor is harder because, you know, you got gravity and all that good stuff, right? But yeah, do your planks there. There are so many different variations to a plank. Oh, and you know what? Side planks. Let's talk about those. Those are fun. So look, you can pretend like you're on the beach. Here you go. You see that? Get ready. This is beach ready, right? You here, put the hand here, and then you lift this up. Now notice this. I'm working my side, both sides. This is a very difficult position to be in, all right? The side plank. Now, what do we want to do with that? Again, bent knees. You know, think about it. The push-up, we can do with bent knees. Both planks, we can do with bent knees. This will help you get you to where you want to go if you want to get stronger. So all you do is you bend your knees and you lift your hip and you hold it. That's it. And this is work. Hold this for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, more than 60 seconds. And then you go, oh, this is too easy. Oh, look, I can lift a leg. You know what I mean? All right, so there are variations to everything. So let's go through it again. I want to make sure you got it. So there's a plank on the elbows, long legs, or on the knees. All right, that's your first one. We're here, we're here. Second one, side, we're here, or with bent knees, okay? And we're here. Now, there are so many different ways to play with these. If you're doing straight legs, you stack the feet, split the feet, right? Or you can elevate yourself. You know, put yourself on a higher surface so you can do it. And then you go from there, all right? So those are some of your basic exercises. Oh, and a row. Let's do the row. Let's do that one. That one you definitely want to do. We don't want to leave that out. So I'm going to grab a tube, and this is how you want to do this. Now, if you're going to do a row, you can do one of two things. You can take this tube and you can hook it over a door, pull the door shut, and do your row, right? You pull, you straighten, you pull, you straighten. Or, again, if you're not in your gym, if you're in your gym, there are different ways to do a row, right? So you can wrap the tube around your foot or your feet and then pull. Let's go sideways so you can see me. Let's put this here, and you're gonna hold the handle or thereabout. Sit nice and tall, spread the feet apart, and pull and straighten, okay? Pull and straighten. Now this is gonna work the upper back, all right? And it's straighten. Let's think trapezius muscles. Let's think about posture, because we all want good posture, right? And this is gonna help, right? And pull and hold. Now when you pull, look at the elbow, right? Squeeze the middle of the back together, right? You're thinking about right in the middle. That's where you're going. You're going right between the shoulders when you pull. So if I pull, give me an extra emphasis, squeezing the shoulder blades together and extend forward, okay? And that's your row. And again, different ways to do a row. There's with the tube, right? We all know rows this way. And the last one I'm gonna give you is actually rowing, and I'm gonna do it on my knees on a bench. I'm not on a bench again, I'm still on the floor, right? So now, from here, actually let's turn it this way. All right, now my hand is down, I'm gonna grab the dumbbell, elbow is up, and straighten. Okay, do you see that? So it's up and straighten. All right, that's how you wanna do that. Up and straighten. You want a flat back, keep the arm long, and pull the elbow to the ceiling. Pull it right into the sky. Push it back, squeeze the shoulder blade when you come. So pull, straighten, pull, and straighten. All right, so that's your row. I think that's a little bit of everything, right? I think we hit it all, maybe? I don't know. Okay, but anyway, I tried to. I think what I will do next, I'm gonna put all these basics together for you, and just so you can see what it would look like in a workout, okay? So why don't you come back and see me so I can actually show you how it all looks when it's in an actual workout. And yeah, maybe you could do the workout, okay? So hang in there and let's see what it all looks like.